Every now and then I get really inspired to film a video strictly from the artistic point of view. I mean, that's always a part of my videos. I really like the artistic side of food, but sometimes it's like, okay, I'm going for this one and it's gonna look awesome. It's just how my brain works. I get really excited about these ideas, things I think are gonna look great on camera. And I was recently looking at my friend Celine's blog, the one I filmed this 5-ingredient vegan desserts video, and she had a bunch of peanut butter cup recipes, but vegan style, and they were all filled with crazy fillings, blueberry, strawberry, and I thought it would be amazing if you had one video where they were all stacked up in a row of different flavors. So this is my attempt at that, getting creative with the standard peanut butter cup, because it's the perfect vehicle to really put anything in there considering it's chocolate. It's gonna be good with pretty much anything. And I also thought it'd be a great idea to open this up to you guys for a follow-up video. You guys suggest fillings for these peanut butter cups. So whoever comes up with the fillings that make it through to the next round that I pick as the winners, you're gonna get a free spice packet, a Brothers Green BGBQ spice packet. So just comment in below with your crazy idea. They don't have to be crazy. Just comment in below with your ideas, what you think would make a great filling for a chocolate cup. And we'll get down on part 2, but here's part 1 right now. Alright, so first we have to make the shell for these cups, and by this point most people know how to melt chocolate, but if you don't, here's how you do it. This is a double boiler, which is basically just some simmering water with a bowl right over it, which creates a nice warm environment, but not too hot because you don't want to burn the chocolate. Then I dumped in the dark chocolate. I'm using 70% dark chocolate. And I also added a few scoops of coconut oil just to give it a nice little snap once it cools down. And just keep stirring that around until you have a nice silky chocolate. That is some beautiful stuff right there. So we're ready to fill these cups, just the bottom layer. And all you're gonna do is take one scoop and just twirl it around just like that. The goal is to get a nice even bottom layer, and then you want the chocolate to kind of come up on the lip about 1/4 inch. And the more you do it, the more you'll get the hang of it. But you're looking for something just like that. And you're gonna put that right back into the muffin tin, and then that's gonna take like 5 minutes to cool off, and you've got your bottom shells. And I kept thinking how they do this in the factories. Like, they must have some crazy machinery. Who invented that machinery? I want to know that guy. The first filling, we've got a blueberry cashew, and this one is really simple, but it's used in a lot of vegan pie fillings. I thought it would work great in these cups. So I took some cashews and I soaked them in hot water for about an hour and then added them to a blender. Then of course I added in the blueberries. You can use fresh or frozen. Hit it with a little bit of maple syrup and a few pinches of salt. And then I added melted coconut oil, which is the key because when it goes in the fridge, that's what really thickens up this mixture. And then you just gotta blend it until it's really nice and smooth, really creamy. You can see how that mixture really thickened up nicely, and you're just going to stuff it in the bottom of those cups and then drizzle over that chocolate. And this is another technique that will take some time to get used to. The goal is to get a nice even layer. You can even twist the pan around, and then you're ready to enjoy a blueberry cashew chocolate cup. Oh dear Lord, the PB&J right there. I have no idea why they don't sell these in stores because it is maybe 10 times better than a regular peanut butter cup. And they're so simple. All you have to do is take your favorite peanut butter. Definitely helps if you've got a nice thick one. Add on your favorite jelly. I'm using some Concord grape jelly right here. And then drizzle on that chocolate just like we did for the last one. Make sure you get a nice even layer just like that, and
you can toss that in the fridge for about 5 to 10 minutes, and you're ready to enjoy maybe the best dessert of all time. Next up is the coconut mint, and for me this is a nice play on a thin mint because those things are glorious. And all you're going to do is take some peppermint, take that right off the stalk, and then you're going to pour over some coconut milk and just let that infuse for a few hours so that peppermint really seeps into the coconut milk. This is a young coconut, and to get into this beast, you've got to confidently send a few hacks right into the top. And once you've made it around, it should pop off and open, and just pour out that coconut water. And make sure you drink that so you stay hydrated while you're eating a lot of candy. Then you're just gonna scoop out all the coconut meat with a spoon. This stuff is the best. And to make the mixture, you're gonna take that coconut meat, add it to a food processor or blender, then add some shredded coconut, a little bit of coconut oil again to really thicken it up. Then I poured in that minty coconut milk. And originally I was trying to avoid getting the actual mint pieces in there, but a few fell in and I actually liked it. I liked the fresh mint in there in the end. So just add in a little bit of maple syrup, a few sprinkles of salt to bring out the flavor, and just blend up until you get a nice consistency. Since I made this in the food processor, it turned out a little thicker, but you know, it was freaking tasty. Can't deny that texture right there. And then once it comes out of the fridge, it's gonna thicken up because of the coconut oil and the coconut milk, and you can just stuff it right in those shells. And again, just drizzle on that chocolate right on top, get a nice smooth layer, put them back in the fridge for 5 to 10 minutes, and you've got yourself a nice vegan thin mint with delicious minty flavor, but also that creamy coconut filling. A beautiful chocolate cup. Next up is the CHEWY butterscotch. And butterscotch is probably the only candy I make because it is so good. All you have to do is add some sugar to a pan. Just keep stirring that around. It's gonna start off like sand, and then it's gonna keep melting down until you get this nice caramel looking color. Once it is completely melted down, you can turn the heat off, and then you can add some butter, hence the name butterscotch. And it's gonna bubble up on you like crazy, but just keep stirring it around to incorporate the butter and you will be fine. And then once that's incorporated, you can start adding in a little bit of heavy cream. And the more cream you add, the silkier and chewier it will be. And then I also added just a little bit of salt because you gotta love the salty caramel as well. And just stir that around a little bit, and then you've got this beautiful, look at that, come on. That is an awesome filling right there. I was actually going for a chewier texture, but I really liked how this turned out. It was super, it was almost like toffee. It was kind of, yeah, it was very similar to a toffee texture. Of course, just fill in the chocolate, cool that down a little bit, and enjoy your candy treat. Alright, so last up is the avocado fudge, and this stuff is amazing. I'm not actually going to give you the recipe because this was actually leftover from my last video with Celine on vegan desserts. So just check out that video. I'll link it below if you want the recipe for the avocado fudge. But I'm telling you, it actually makes sense with chocolate. It works so well because there's sugar and there's coconut in this filling. So it might seem weird, but it is awesome. Take my word. And that is it, my friends. That is getting creative with chocolate cups. And remember to comment in below with your ideas for a chance to win a Brothers Green Spice packet. And I'm just gonna leave you with this failed attempt at trying to stack them all up and cut them nicely. I think the butterscotch was a little too firm and it screwed everything up, but it was still delicious.